Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Hello, Meredith.
Hello.
So, Meredith is with me, and we just finished working out, so if you hear a loud thud, that is her passing out. She did a great job today.
I'm going to throw up soon.
Yeah. You did so good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we trained legs, which is always a rough day.
Correction, we trained glutes and quad sweep.
Yes, there we go. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so today's podcast is number 2032. It's with Meredith Contest Prep 2024, and we're 23 weeks out. So we made it a week.
A whole week.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We're whatever the math of 1/24th of the way there. So it's like 4-ish%.
Don't even.
I think. Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Ballpark.
Yeah.
Ballpark-ish. Yes. So we did make it a week in. So the first question in our outline for today was, how was the week overall? Like, broad sweeping thoughts.
It feels good to be back on a plan.
Ooh,
I like having this is what I'm having. This is my range. This is what I'm doing XYZ.
Yes.
I know I can feel a difference.
Awesome.
With the, let's see, it's like only slightly less food than I normally have,
Yes.
but I feel it because we're also doing training.
Yeah, we added the caloric expenditure of training.
Yeah.
And then we made your food more consistent, which means some days you're eating a little more than you would have, and some days you're eating a little less than you would have without that consistency. And if you want to know what she's eating, follow our Instagram page, because we put it on there.
Mare Wit Fit.
Yeah, Mare Wit
It
Fit.
was. I remember being at my friend Sarah's house. We used to teach together in Philly, and she asked if I knew what Instagram was or if I had Instagram, and I said, "What's that?"
Yeah.
So she took my phone and she created an account for me,
Aw.
and she called it Mare Wit Wit. And so
Yeah.
once I did my competition, I changed it to Wit Fit.
Ah,
So
excellent.
backstory to what that name is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So it's a lot of calories, surprisingly,
Yeah,
right?
2,400 calories.
2,400 calories, which if you go on any flippin' app, it'll be like, oh, you're how tall? Here's 1,200 calories.
Oh, yeah, they would tell you 2,400
Screw
calories is
you.
like a
Double,
mass gaining
probably
diet.
double what
Yeah.
I should have.
Yeah.
You're obese. Stop it.
Yeah.
No.
And that's challenging. Like, a lot of women I work with, they would see the number of, say, 1,800
Freak out.
and freak out.
And I'll probably be having that closer to the stage.
Oh, yeah. Like, we'll eventually we burn more calories
But
in our
that's
training,
still
and then we eat a
lot.
little less calories. But
It's still a lot.
yeah, like
Try
I
to-
know women. Like when my mom was competing
Yeah.
in bodybuilding shows,
Yeah.
there was a woman who told us that she dieted on 800 calories, and I was like, oh my god,
What?
like why?
That's what I
and
ate when
how?
I was anorexic.
Yeah, yeah. that's
Like
good.
I remember counting.
Yes. Yeah, I remember like whenever I was going through my anorexic phase, 400 calories was like a day where I felt like I was starting to lose control.
Meaning, like, if you
I
ate
over 400 calories,
Yeah, that you were spiraling.
I felt like I was like, dude, you're losing it. Like, you're out of control. Like, you're gonna mess everything up. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I understand that.
that was crazy low.
Yeah, that's really low. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I did. I remember. I think 800 calories a day was my normal.
Oh, that's so
But
low.
I also did 1 to 2 hours of like a sport after school, and
That's
then
insane. Yeah.
minimum 3 hours of dance a night.
Yeah. On
minimum.
800 calories. That's
Yeah.
insane. Yeah.
I look great.
Oof.
I'm gonna not pay attention to the fact my hair is falling out, but I look great.
Yeah. I might want to.
I didn't look great, by the way.
Yeah.
I did.
It's just that like near death experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's beneficial, I think, for women to hear that you're eating
For sure.
2,400 calories.
Yeah, for sure.
So that way they don't get worried about the number. Like, we work with a variety of people, and one of them like is a high-level CrossFit coach, and she does her training and then also trains classes, and she struggles to also believe that she needs around 2,400 calories. And I remember, like, I have to kind of like push on her a little bit. to
Yeah,
do that on a
mentally,
regular
because
basis.
it's everything that you were told not to do in Cosmo and Glamour and women's
Yeah.
fitness and anything. So let's see, another general notion of a sense. Eating out of order yesterday.
Yes, we're going to talk on that. Let's go into that. Let's actually go into that. Yeah, so we talked about food timing. So why did
Really
that
important.
happen, and how did you feel?
I got my face lasered.
Oh, hey, there you go.
So, shout out.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Sure. Tom did the same thing. He went pew, pew, pew.
Pew, pew, pew. Star Wars.
So, shout out Charlotte Skin and Laser.
Yes.
Did a lot of research. And chose them. Still love you, Raphael, but you don't have these lasers.
Yeah. And Cat was pretty cool.
Cat was awesome.
Yeah.
So I got an early appointment, and so I couldn't get up and do all the things I normally would do, normally eating around then. So
And it wasn't even necessary. Like, we had the rest of the day.
Right.
So if we had to, could we have gone up before? Sure. But do we need to? No.
No. So I got there. They put the numbing gel on my face, sat there for almost an hour, and that's when I had 2 Bobos and a Core Power. Mm-hmm. And then I got home, and we had chicken and rice for
Yeah, 'cause I was super
lunch
hungry.
instead of dinner. And then I was so thrown off. I was like, what do I do with my hands? What's happening?
Yeah.
Where am I? It felt really weird. I was like ravenous by 3-ish.
Yeah.
I was really hungry, and then I wasn't hungry for dinner. Like, it was really weird.
Yeah. It was all the same food, just in different order.
Yeah, which was really bizarre.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't work out because they said not to. Like, don't sweat. So even without the workout, I was like, why am I so hungry?
Yeah.
This is weird. So we can talk about that a little bit.
I think that's fun. Yeah. Like our typical structure, we consume foods. Our calories are relatively spread throughout the day, pretty well. And that's on purpose. However, the digestion rate of the foods have a faster digestion rate at the beginning of the day compared to the end of the day. And that's partly because for you to eat 2,400 calories and have it be consistent, that on previous months before we started making this like our okay, we're going to make this our routine, there were days you weren't hungry.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm thinking to myself, is okay, if I'm going to set this up and I need this to be the new consistent thing, I got to make sure these foods digest in a way in which you eat breakfast, but you're hungry enough for lunch. Then by the time you eat lunch, you're like, well, that was good, but I'm actually kind of still hungry. So you have the daytime snacks that we plan for.
Yeah.
And then by the time you finish work, we sit down and have a big meal of chicken and rice, which is 970 calories. And then all of a sudden that lasts you till the evening, like till you go to bed. So timing out foods based on digestion rate is extremely important, not only for people wanting to lose weight, but people wanting to gain weight. So I noticed that whenever I was trying to gain size, I graduated high school 165. I'm now 290.
So ridiculous.
For me to gain size, I had to play that game in reverse. I had to eat foods that digested extremely quickly so I could actually eat enough throughout the day.
Lot.
Yeah, because it's counter to what people might think. Is they might think, okay, if I eat a lot of fats, I'm going to get more calories. There's more calories in fats than there are in carbs and protein.
You're not going to be hungry if you're eating it.
Yeah, they just take too long to digest, and you're not hungry enough for your next meal. So
it's tricky.
It's tricky.
I feel like it's an aspect a lot of people don't think about. Right? Like,
Yes.
you get a generic diet plan, and it's like, here's all your fruit for breakfast. You're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, you're going to be hungry in like 90 minutes and want to kill everyone. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair.
Yes. At least that's an excuse. An excuse to want to kill everybody. Sorry, everyone, I had coffee and fruit for breakfast. Yeah. I had food that digested this moment I ate it, and now I'm hungry and starving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh, don't get me started.
But that was neat. It was neat for you to feel that. Like, you're aware of that.
Very
But
aware. Painfully
anytime
aware.
you go into a diet, like anytime I've done a diet, you can do 100 of them, but each time it's a fun new experience and you remind yourself of things.
We've done all the diets.
Yes. But that was a cool experience, is getting to feel that. So
Yeah.
that could be something where if people are struggling in their process, is to say, oh, hey, if I consider the aspect of digestion, am I struggling to eat enough because I eat very slow digesting foods? Am I struggling with cravings because I'm eating such fast digesting foods? So being able to play with the digestion rate can help a lot towards being able to control cravings and properly control hunger, where you're not too hungry but not hungry enough, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting being like so aware. Like when I do a prep for a show or an event or just anything that you put 100% of what you can do into it, you say, okay, I'm going to follow this. And then you just recognize, oh, I'm hungry now. I'm going to,
Yeah.
oh, this is a different feeling. Like you become so in tune. You become such a machine. And you're just used to, okay, I remember last show, it was like I knew it was 2:00 on the dot by how hungry I was.
100%. Yes.
You can tell.
Meal timing should be sensitive to where I would usually tell clients you want to feel it about 30-ish minutes before it's time mealtime. Mm-hmm. So actually a really good podcast if you want to listen to it is 1925. It's a nutrition podcast titled Matching Food Digestion Rates with Meal Timing. So you can learn about what specific foods digest at which rates. Mm-hmm. But in that one, and now we're talking about it right now, is if I'm hungry, like say 2 hours before my mealtime, I'm probably going to break. I'm going to snack. I'm going to overeat on the next meal.
Yeah.
If I'm not hungry at all for next meal, I just won't eat it, or I won't eat enough of it, you know. So 30 minutes, usually, like if I'm like, ooh, I'm kind of hungry, I look at my watch and say I normally eat at noon, it's 11:30, I'm probably pretty good rate of hunger.
Right.
If it's 10-something, I'm probably not eating quite enough. Mm-hmm. If I got to lunch, or if I'm an hour past when lunch should have been and I forgot to eat because I wasn't even hungry enough to be aware of that, that tells you that your timing's off.
And actually, interesting because we talked about it where, I mean, it feels like it's been longer than a week, but it's only been a week.
Yeah.
But we were in the kitchen and you said, I don't remember what day it was, but probably doesn't matter, but it was like, pay attention to how hungry you are before dinner.
Yes.
If you're really hungry, it was like an hour and a half or an hour before dinner. Let's recognize that so we can plan for tomorrow. Remember having that conversation?
Yeah, we had dinner one night at like 8:30, and it was too late.
Yeah.
And we were talking, we were like, oh gosh, like you were hungry before that. And I think the conversation was centered around, well, let me know when you start to get hungry so I can like adjust the schedules a bit.
Right.
And make sure I'm cooking food. Yeah. And we found out around 7:30 is a good time for you to where you're hungry enough to eat at 7:30, and if you eat at 7:30, you're going to go to bed before you get hungry again. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you go to 8:30...
That is very important.
Yeah, that's big, yes.
That's big.
So if you were to eat at 6, you're going to maybe have to kind of force it a bit because you're not hungry that early. But then all of a sudden at 9, you're starving, but we don't go to bed till 10.
Yep.
And you're in trouble. Yeah. So food timing, and this is one of the things I talk about a lot in the podcast, and we talk about with clients, is when you look at the manipulation of weight control, they'll say that calories are king, you got to watch calories. Then the next thing is people will say it should be high carb, high fat, low fat, and they've shown that you can control body weight with any of the above. Mm-hmm. So then when you're talking about components such as meal timing, it's not necessarily a factor that if you look at research says that it's important for weight control in regards to the direct influence. It's an experiential influence. And what I mean by that is if you don't match timing well, you're not going to be consistent.
Right.
Because you're overeating some days, undereating some days, your cravings are off, you're moody. So it might not be something that you see in research that is a direct impact on weight control, but it impacts it on how you feel, which then impacts how you behave, and then that impacts weight control.
Right.
So it's a secondary factor that people often discount.
True. Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. I'm trying to think, what are some other things?
Another one we wanted to touch on was missing a day of training. So yesterday we couldn't train because we did the face lasers. Pew, pew, pew.
Pew, pew.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah. How did you feel?
Not okay.
Yes.
Because in my mind I'm going, I only have how many workouts left?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to... Do I have to overcompensate tomorrow? Meaning today? Mm-hmm. Am I losing an opportunity? Mm-hmm. Do we adjust a diet for not working out today? Do we adjust training tomorrow for not working out today? So only a couple questions.
So only all of them. But that's common. Like
so I handled it really well.
Well, you handle it in a way that you're at least aware that it matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is good because some people don't put enough pressure on their workouts and they're like, yeah, I only worked out once this week, but I'm surprised my weight hasn't moved. It's like, well, what are you doing?
Putting pressure on myself is not a weakness.
No, it's not. But then the reaction is where people get in trouble.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. People go, so much pendulum swinging. Yeah,
so I missed the workout yesterday, so tomorrow I'm going to eat 1,000 calories less. No, do not do that. Yeah. If you're burning 1,000 calories in your workouts, you're probably over-exercising.
Probably?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you when you drag the sled.
Yeah.
How many miles? A mile?
I
2 miles?
forget. One of the worst was when I carried the yoke a mile. That was horrendous.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, poor sport.
So did you compensate for that at all?
Well, this is the fun. Yes. So how we compensate for it is right now I'm training you alternating upper body, lower body workouts.
Yeah.
And the benefit of that is you're never fully recovered. There's always muscles being damaged. Mm-hmm. So every time you train your lower body, it's still sore from the past time. Every time you train your upper body, it's still sore from the past time. Mm-hmm. So the muscle tissues are always in a damaged state, which increases our caloric burn.
Right.
Because your body's always manipulating, trying to repair those tissues.
Yes.
So when we miss a training day, we have enough damage in reserve that your body just completes the process of repairing the muscles.
Awesome.
Yes. So then what we did today was we increased the intensity a little bit compared to our normal, and then that helps push us back down to the deficit that we want, and then we get right back on track.
Very cool.
So now what increase of intensity percentage? Really, to be honest, we didn't do more sets, more reps. We just made sure that we maximize the purposefulness of each set.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say by the last round of the movements, I was shaking in every position.
Yeah. And that's something you were talking about, maybe want to touch on, is how hard do you have to train your muscles in order to get them to change? True. So if someone wants to grow their glutes, if they want to grow quad sweep.
That's right.
Is it something you can do some bodyweight squats and walk out of the gym without sweating?
That's right. Yeah, because that's people ask how I grow glutes, which is nice. But then part of my answer wants to be do you really want to know, though?
Yeah, do you really want to do it?
You're not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be something you can, flip on the TV and do your TV workout and grow your glutes. Mm-hmm. You have to have muscle damage.
There's going to be some cussing involved. You're going to be uncomfortable enough to cry, cuss at yourself.
Yes. We couldn't have put my workout on the podcast today. But, you're not going to do it. You're not going to get it from, yoga.
Yeah, anything that's non-weight bearing, you'll see body weight movements as part of a glute growth program.
Right, but
it's the least impactful part. It's more so volume.
Right.
Volume part. You need to have some external weight load.
Yeah.
Tearing and pulling at the fibers.
Tearing and ripping and shredding.
Yes.
So that's right, because we were talking about also my quad sweep. I felt like my leg is genetically flat.
Yes.
Which is kind of odd looking.
There are, I can think of some females and males in the bodybuilding aesthetic world that have kind of a flatter edge to the quads.
Yeah.
It's like where the IT band.
Right.
From the TFL,
exactly there.
the TFL muscle connects down through the IT band into the knee.
Mm-hmm.
That area can be quite flat on some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were talking about, I was doing my single-legged squats with the kettlebell, and it didn't feel good. And I'm just thinking, wow, it takes so much to actually change it and grow it. Mm-hmm. It really does.
Yeah, and that's where in general, there's two ways in which you can annoy a muscle into growth. One is to cause micro damage, which is called shear force damage. Mm-hmm. So something simply heavy enough that it's actually literally tearing the structures. And then there's a generalized term called metabolic damage. That's extremely generalized. But that would be characterized as something is burning so bad you have to stop. The muscle's so pumped or it's burning so bad, and that's why you stop. So shear force, you stop because it's so heavy, you just literally can't move it again.
Yeah.
And then pump damage, metabolic damage, it's burning so damn bad you can't move again.
Yeah.
So the key is, if you want muscles to change, they will only change based on the need for that to happen.
Yeah.
They have to perceive that change is necessary for survival.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way it's necessary for survival is if you tell it to do something and it says, I can't. I want you to lift this again. I can't because it's too heavy. Or I want you to lift this again. I can't because it's burning too bad.
Perfect.
You have to do that time and time and time again.
Yeah. There's a company called Live Soar. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, no, I have not.
And I haven't actually, I don't know if they're still in business, but I remember it. Oh. And it's kind of probably the concept.
It sounds like I'd probably love it.
Yeah, because you have to, and then we also talked about when would you do a rest day intentionally versus not. And so we also talked about the intensity, saying, okay, you got a week in, we got to start grinding now.
Yeah.
Right? Because I had to start getting reused to the movements. Because, again, I put myself last.
Yeah. And that's part of like the initial phases when you're starting towards a goal such as this is it's typical that people want to start with their, gas pedal to the floor. Yeah. Like I haven't trained consistently in 6 months, 9 months, 6 years. So let me do this program I got offline from a professional and just expect everything to go well day one. Yeah. It is not. You're going to feel like absolute shit.
Or it was like, well, like we talked about this the other day. Well, they compete in 16 weeks. Can I compete in 16 weeks?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nope. My friend, you will take 52. Or you will take 46.
They compete in 16 weeks because they're under 16% body fat.
Because they're always ready.
Yes. And that is challenging. Like when I was younger, I would see pros talk about a 12 to 16 week prep, and they're like, well, maybe if I'm out of shape, I'll do a 20 week prep. And I remember like I would do a diet, and it would feel like in 16 weeks I didn't even look like I did anything. And I'm like, this is depressing. How the hell did I get on stage? I look like just a smaller, flatter version of myself. But it's not uncommon people will be 20+%, even 30+% body fat.
Yeah. When
they are like, I love this idea, I really want to do this. And you're like, okay, but we're going to have to do it in stages. You're not going to go from 30% body fat to stage ready in 16, 20 weeks. And if you somehow got on stage, your skin is going to be loose, flat.
It's going to be
your
gross.
Muscles are going to be flat. You're not going to be filled up. You're not going to look the way you expected. People can lose weight pretty damn quick. But you're not going to look what you see in your mind or what you would see in photos and pictures of people who aren't crashing into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Very big difference.
Yes. So how is your body feeling from this week? Do you have any aches and pains in joints? Do you have anything at all that you're like wrestling through?
No aches and pains. And, knock on wood, people around our age talk about knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain.
Yeah, all the time.
And I don't have that. So...
Yes.
Probably because I've worked out nearly every day for my life.
Yeah, you're very active background. And then we did a lot of corrective stuff when we first met.
So much corrective therapy.
Yeah. And then we're still blend that in. We still blend in ankle mobility from dancing for all on your toes for 20-some years. Your ankles are tight as hell. So, which makes it very hard to get to your lower glutes, and it makes it very hard to get to your quad sweep.
Yeah.
So we had to modify your ankle mobility to ensure that we weren't getting just the top glutes.
Yeah, and we even talked about that, saying like, oh, you couldn't do a show because your body mechanics, I mean you could, but your body mechanics aren't where they are to maximize the work you're putting in at the gym to look the way you want.
Yeah.
And that was a hard truth. That was the brutal truth.
Yeah, the brutal truth.
Related to training.
Yeah.
So it was, okay, I guess I'm going to do step-ups for 2 years.
Yeah, we did short-range RDLs, a bunch of calf massages, which you endured misery there. But there was a lot of fixing of the hip rotation.
Yeah.
You had to fix a lot.
Yes. My hips look so different.
And that was why the upper glutes were growing, but the lower glutes weren't. So changing exercise selection, changing weight load, and then getting body positions. Quite different.
So different.
Yeah, and that's a big component.
There's a photo on my Instagram of me doing an overhead squat. And it was only 10-pound difference. But at like 175 overhead squatting, it looks like my back is flat. And so if I look at that photo now, I go, oh my God, don't drop the bar on your back. Like I don't even know how I was doing. Your torso is
like parallel to the floor.
And then the other one, it was like 165 and it's like straight over my head.
Yeah.
Wild difference. Just from the ankles.
That's awesome. Yeah. Huge improvement there.
Pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. And then another question is, we're a weekend. We've had 24/7 attention to nutrition. Every single day paying attention to training. Even if you have missed one day or not, you're still paying attention to it. You're still feeling that pressure.
Yeah.
Has the excitement worn off?
No.
Okay. When have you experienced that before? A lot of people will experience
excitement wearing off.
Yeah. Like, do you typically decide to do a goal and it feels pretty good the whole way through, or do you find yourself running into a wall at a certain point? How do you manage that? Like, is it something you feel like you have to manage?
That's a fun question. Are we talking about all goals? I guess.
Actually, I would be open to hearing if there's a difference for you, because I am aware of, like, for myself, and we know for a lot of clients, they'll pick a goal, they genuinely want it. But then you get into the everyday attentive nature of it, and damn, does that weigh on you pretty quick, and people like fade out.
Yeah.
Do you have goals that you fade out quickly on?
Ooh. So I have not lost excitement for this. I'm more excited a weekend now.
I love that.
And usually it's because I feel like I have to caveat the answer because by the time I decide to do something, I have usually given it extensive thought for a significantly extended period of time.
Yeah, so you can start on a whim.
Deciding to apply to school for my executive MBA. That was probably a year of research.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Trying to figure out what school is the best culture, talking to people that have graduated from the schools, talking to, my coach, like just talking to a lot of people and a lot of research and deciding, then you do a cost benefit analysis and you talk about, you think about what do you want to do. And so doing so much research, it kind of makes you say, once you start it, I'm all in and I'm fired up.
Yeah.
So similarly, we didn't get to do a show during COVID because it was COVID.
Yeah.
And then, taking care of my mom and all of the other challenges that we faced, it couldn't fit.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I feel like I have thought about this for 4 years.
Okay.
So that's like, talk about thinking about something and being ready to do it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go because now I'm really excited. And again, there was more research involved of how does it fit in with work and classes and other goals and this and that and the other thing. And it's like, well, this would be perfect to do now for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
So I haven't lost the zest. The times when I do question it is when you feel like you're missing out on something.
Ooh, FOMO.
Yes. FOMO. But like studying for the GMAT, or like I didn't get to go to a work event that probably would have been really fun because I had the GMAT the next morning.
Yes.
Or I didn't get to do something, in the summer because something else came up. So it's when you start to say, oh, I can't go on the girls' trip, my competition is in 2 weeks. And that'll just be like, I won't be able to sleep. You won't want to be around me. Let's just not do that. So as soon as I start to feel like I'm missing out on something, you think about it. But for me, it's, well, then you remember why you're doing it. And you just say, this is the way it is today. I can live with myself tomorrow if something happens. I can't. Sounds extreme, but I won't be able to live with myself if I just say, screw it. I'm going to want to have this fleeting enjoyment and over something else. Yeah. Now, there's always trade-offs. So if there's a big event and you want to go, you figure it out. But usually if there's something that, I don't know, you feel like you're just...
There's only 100% of ourselves. And you can only be in one place at a time. Yeah. So you do have to decide what percentage am I going to allocate. The bigger the goals you have, the bigger percentage it needs. Right. And then sometimes you just have to decide between two good things. Yeah. And like you said, is at predetermining priorities is very helpful. So I talk about that a lot. I think that's enormous for reducing anxiety. Yes. Let's say, for example, there's a weekend with friends versus I'm a week out from the show. And I know, could I make it work if I take all my food, if I cook food at the Airbnb, maybe I'll measure my water, make sure I drink enough. It's like, is it physically possible? Yes. Do I have it mentally to do that? I was just going to say. At the moment, probably not. Yeah. So then you have to forgive yourself and say, hey, you may disappoint the friends. You're going to disappoint a part of you that wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. But this bigger priority, this bigger goal, this thing that I can't just do in 3 months. I could do the Friends trip again in 3 months.
Right.
I can't do the show in 3 months. Like, I've paid a lot of money, dedicated a lot of time. This is something that is a smaller window, smaller opportunity. It clearly makes logical sense for me to pick this show.
Right.
I'm going to pick the show. Then I have to process the emotions of the other choice.
Right. Absolutely. And there might, lived long enough to say there might be something that happens between now and the show and I don't get to do it.
Yeah.
But that's different.
Yeah.
Right. I've made up my mind now. I'm excited about it. We're on track for it.
Yeah.
And that's different. Right.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be unknowns, like slip and fall and break your leg. Would we love to do the show? Hell yeah. But is that really, so there are going to be components that you can't plan for in the sense of, should I just not do a show because I can't plan everything in life?
Right.
No, that's ridiculous. So you're going to have to try for something in life.
Yeah.
So you try for it and then you adjust along the way.
It'll never be perfect conditions as much as we want it to be perfect conditions.
Yeah. You control what you can, then whatever is outside of your control, you give to God if you believe in God, or you give to the universe or whatever your beliefs are.
Whatever you believe in.
Yeah, whoever you believe that manages the things that you can't manage.
Believe in that.
If you believe they're managed at all.
Yeah.
That's scary. Yes. But I think you had a very successful first week. What I love about it is a lot went right. And then what quote unquote went off plan would be eating the same foods but in a different order. And we had a day off of training that we wouldn't have planned for. But that's normal. Anybody listening to this, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're still going to ace the show. They're not destined for
20
failure.
20 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I would have been like, you're a freaking failure.
Yeah.
You're weak.
Yeah.
Who
Now that
cares?
percentage is going to be less. I'm going to be 2% less than I could have been.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh, don't worry, you're fine.
Yeah. Especially this far out.
True.
We did choose. Yeah. It's a good amount of weeks because it does give some buffer for life.
Absolutely, yes. And you're competing in a show in which other people are also going to have to balance other jobs, and this isn't a pro show. We're not pro yet, so it's very unlikely that everybody else that we're going to compete against is just sitting at home with nothing else to do except for get their food and training right.
True.
So even the trainers we work with, that their social media platform is their career.
Yeah.
And they make money based on the way they look. They make money based on the way they are perceived to have looked. So we see the nitty gritty of what's actually happening behind the scenes.
Yep.
And what you see on social media, in a lot of ways, is close to reality with the people we work with because they're good quality people and they're not going to lie about stuff. But what I mean by is what you might not see is there might be that day where they had to scramble their foods a bit.
Yeah.
And maybe they didn't post about that because they had something happen with a client and they wanted to share a client success. So they just don't talk about it. And it's not that they're purposely not talking about it, it just doesn't come up. And we don't see that. We see them still looking good. And we're like, man, they must be perfect with everything. Hell no.
Yeah.
They're not perfect. People make mistakes.
Happens.
Yes. So, but what's cool is the mistakes are going to be 1 out of 7 days. Not where you only hit your targets 2 out of 7 and then you're wondering why you're not making progress.
Oh, don't even don't come to me with I don't know why I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's like that, it kind of drives me nuts, the reel that I see over and over again, where it's, I don't know why I don't feel good. Have you slept? No. You have you drink water?
No. No.
It gets to me.
Yes.
Probably more than it should, but that's true. Don't think, oh, okay, I have my plan printed out and I stared at it all week, but I didn't follow it. This must not be what I need to do.
Well, there's definitely a difference. There's a difference of the pressure of the plan versus the adherence. So we're going to feel like we're doing the program because we're aware of the program. But it doesn't mean we're actually doing the program if we're not actually doing the program. So what I typically have in cases like that, where you look at somebody's food journal and you're like, okay, we had 3 out of 8, 3 out of 7 days we're on track. The other 4 weren't. Why? What did you notice? Did we wake up not hungry? Did we wake up late? Did we miss lunch because, maybe the night before we normally prep food, we weren't able to prep food? Did we not have a backup thing in place? My response is why. I want to know why.
Yeah.
Because we want to know what's the step. How do you fix this?
Right. Or if this isn't working and you're missing 4 out of 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Is it designed for your lifestyle correctly?
Yeah,
is
like what's
food,
up? What do we got to change?
Right. So it has to be designed for the person, or you design it for yourself so that you can maintain it. Consistency is king.
Yeah. And I think like one common thing there that comes up is they kind of eat haphazardly. They know what their options are supposed to be, and they know what their targets are, but they kind of wake up and they're like, oh, I'm supposed to have, like, for our example, a bagel sandwich and a Core Power for breakfast. Mm-hmm. But they're like, oh, I don't have any bagels. And it's like, well, why did you get to the point of not having any bagels? Like, grocery shop, put that in a reminder. Mm-hmm. Or if you don't have bagels, look up anything in your house that has the same amount of calories and the same amount of carbs.
Alignment, right.
And they'll just be like, well, I just didn't have the sandwich. I'm like, that's not helpful. We gotta put something in your face that has similar calories. Can't just not eat.
Put something in your face.
Well, I used to tell clients all the time, I'd rather eat a Snickers than skip a meal.
Oh yeah.
Because I can work with, I can train off calories.
You've told me that.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember what it was. One of the chaotic days.
Yeah, in the last 4 or 5 years. Yes.
Yeah.
But you can burn off extra calories. You can't do anything with insufficient calories. Yeah. If somebody undereats, you're done. There's nothing to do.
That I have had to wrap my brain around it over the last 5 years.
That undereating is more detrimental than overeating?
Yes.
Yeah, and that shocks everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because society doesn't tell you that.
No, I'd rather overeat and go for a walk than undereat and then just miss all of my muscle gain, let my metabolism reduce, which isn't going to happen from one missed meal, but from continued, like if it happens too often, the metabolism does start to reduce.
Yeah, give me 5 extra minutes of leg press so I can have an extra, I'd rather eat and work.
Yeah, if I'm uncertain as to what I'm going to eat. So that's one thing that comes up with clients all the time is they're like, oh, I went to so-and-so's house or I was out and about and I wasn't sure how many calories was in the food. Well, just take a big fat guess and then go for an extra 10-minute walk. Like, don't skip the food because you're definitely going to be underfed.
Right.
If you're afraid of being overfed at all, just go for an extra walk, do some extra bodyweight squats when you get home. Or at least, like, if you're going to Chick-fil-A, eat the chicken off the sandwich and throw the rest of it away. I don't care. Mm-hmm. Just get something. Like, just take a big fat guess. But guessing is better than just nothing. Mm-hmm. Nothing gets you nothing. Something gets you something.
And by something, that's not like a whole cheesecake.
True.
Like, still
it's an educated guess.
Reasonable, right?
Yeah. It's like, what is similar to what I eat, not...
Well, you told me something.
Yeah, you told me something, so I had cheesecake at Cheesecake Factory. Yeah. I'm like, number 1, why are you at Cheesecake Factory? Number 2, why didn't you invite me? But I think that's cool for people to hear, is that we had a good week, but didn't mean it was perfect.
And we decided to weigh myself.
Yes, so we are gonna track your weight. Yes. So that'll be fun to share with everybody. We can share that, I don't know, at the end or along the journey, whenever it feels fun.
I probably have 20-ish pounds of fat to lose.
I don't know. I can tell you, but we gotta wait and see.
Oh yeah, he's gonna do a big unveiling at the end.
Yeah, it's partly because
it's true. I think I'd rather at the end. Yeah, because it is what it is.
I was gonna say, because like this goal, you weigh whatever you weigh just to look good.
Right. You just
so if you look like say somebody's goal, I'm gonna pick up stupid numbers because I just want it to be that dumb. Say somebody wants to step on stage at 500 pounds, but they happen to look good at 550. Then we're just weighing it at 550.
Yeah.
Meaning that the weight doesn't matter. It's the look. If you're going for an aesthetic show, it's a freaking aesthetic show.
I got on stage.
There's no scales on stage.
Yeah, I got on stage at, very low body fat. The national show, very low body fat. I want to say 132 pounds. Mm-hmm. Size 0, 5'2".
Yeah, that's crazy.
132 pounds. Mm-hmm. When I was in high school and I was like chubby, the podcast where I was like, don't tell me I wasn't chubby.
Yeah.
I was 100, probably 35, 140.
Yeah, now you just have
size
such better body
10,
composition.
12. Yeah. Wild. That's right, because when I was anorexic and I was a 0, I've put on 50 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
The same size getting on stage.
That's amazing. That's
50
awesome.
pounds of muscle.
That's huge.
What?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't look at the scale when I get weighed at the doctor. Yeah. I don't look at the scale really ever because we always say, what was the, I guess it came out, maybe when CrossFit got popular, but it was like train to look good naked.
Yeah.
Versus train to look good in clothes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I weigh myself 4, 5, 6 times a week.
Yeah.
And then you don't weigh at all. And it like the reason why I want to mention that is you can do it both ways.
Yeah. Or your mistake is, shit, I lost 4 pounds.
Yeah, I weigh myself because I'll lose weight. So I have to weigh
fast.
myself to motivate myself to eat enough. Because if I weigh like 292 one day, next day I step on the scale, I'm 289. I'm like, damn it, I gotta eat food.
Yeah.
So I'll just try to eat even more that day.
Yeah.
Like I eat about 4,000 calories a day, but some days it's down 3,600, and that's what I feel like. Because I'm not prepping for a show right now, so my range is usually between 3,600 to 4,000. But if I'm low on weight, I'll bump up to 44.
Yeah.
So I'll do an extra 400.
Well, yeah, and you have different goals. You're trying to add muscle,
Yeah.
lose a little bit of fat,
Yeah.
and like slowly recomp.
I'm recomping on the upward. You're recomping on the downward.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're trying to get my waist the same as your thigh.
Yeah.
Because my thigh is the same as your bicep.
Yes.
Isn't that funny?
So we're getting there.
We are.
Yeah. Relationship goals.
Relationship goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yes.
It's true though.
It's fun.
What other questions do you have?
That was all of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a week. It's not like it's
Yeah.
halfway.
So what was just the last thing I had was what we're going to look into coming into the upcoming week.
Yeah.
So we're doing body weight measurements on Monday and Thursday, and that just lets me know if we're on track. You know, one more factor, one more data point, and then keeping up with nutrition training. We're not going to change anything nutrition wise this week.
Okay.
Not changing anything training wise. Then we'll just weigh in next week. We'll see how you're feeling, joint wise, muscle wise. And then in next week's podcast, we'll talk about if we're going to make any changes. But for anybody that wants to follow along with the entire process, there's no changes made yet.
Yeah.
And then what I'm going to be doing is in a document, Google Docs, I'm going to be tracking all the changes we make along the prep.
That'll be fun.
So that way, kind of at the very end, we can show how often we had to change things and maybe why the motivation for the change. So that way we can kind of put together a nice kind of comprehensive picture of the nuances that are managed when you get ready for competition.
Yeah, I like that. What do you imagine body fat wise? Do you think I should lose per week? Do you have like something in mind, like a pound?
That is fun. Based on your body weight and where I perceive us to be on stage, we're looking at around a pound a week.
Okay, that's
but
not bad.
a significant portion of that is going to be like the end of the last week's water manipulation.
Yeah.
So you do have like water manipulation the last week. We're not going to. I would love us to be, and we're aiming for to be lean enough that we don't have to do a lot of manipulation at all.
That'd be great.
So that's the main goal. From there, you're going to do some natural diuretics. You're going to do some sodium and water, like very safe manipulation, just to make sure the muscles are full. Not any concern of being flat or not ever concern of being spilling over. But we just wanted some decent feel.
For people that don't know and are trying to follow along to understand the process, can you explain how you would define flat and spillover?
Yes, great question. So flat is going to be when you see someone on stage and they are lean, meaning you would see muscular definition, striations, and veins in areas that don't typically hold water, which would be shoulder cap, upper chest, upper back for most people. But you would see in their lower back, where the spinal erectors are, you'll see rolls of skin. And what that's going to come from is water under the skin. And then the other area you'll see for women is the pouch, like outer thighs, the haunches.
Saddlebags?
Yes. And then lower glute. You'll see a lower glute fold, a lower glute roll. But if their delts are lean and their upper body's really lean, you know that's water. It's not body fat. Because body fat is stored relatively smoothly
and evenly
at that point. Yes. So what you're looking for is at that stage, if somebody has super leanness in areas that don't retain water, but they have a lot of water under the skin, that means they're flat. So what that would mean is they don't have enough carbohydrates in their system to pull that water from under the skin into the muscles. So they don't have enough carbohydrates or sodium, because you need those two things combined with water to pull the water out from the skin, put it into the muscles. And then essentially what that does is it's like blowing up a balloon.
Yeah.
You blow up the muscles to press against the skin, and they appear leaner.
Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, spilling over is the same look, but they'll have more fullness to the muscles. So flat is they have definition, but you see the water in the lower back, but their muscles. It's funny. There's not a lot of vascularity in the forearms.
It's fun to talk about the
vascularity in the biceps. Whereas when somebody's spilled over, they'll have more vascularity all around, but they're still going to have that water roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then typically when you talk to them, they're going to say like, oh yeah, I had 750 grams of carbs. You're like, probably didn't need 750 grams of carbs.
Good Lord.
Yeah. When you talk to somebody who's flat, they're going to be like, I went straight keto the last week. And you're like, well, were you dieting keto? Like if you were dieting keto and then you just dropped the keto, that's probably not going to be the best approach. Making some kind of crazy drastic change last week is usually not ideal.
Don't do it. I remember the first show, and I took the diuretic before the show. I woke up and I went, whoa! Like, where did these muscles come from?
Because you have veins coming out, and you're like, this is
my friend at school saw a photo, and they're like, how long ago was that taken? That's you? And I remember like, shut up.
Yeah, screw you, man.
You look like that for like 4 hours if you're lucky.
Yes, it is interesting. Like when you feed somebody for the day on a contest prep day, a contest day, you have to have variable digestible foods. So, like I've done it with clients where we use white rice, bananas, and graham crackers.
Yeah,
and they digest
delicious.
it different. Yes, except for the fact you can't drink a lot of water.
Yeah,
so
which sounds all that awful.
Dry. Yeah, it sounds
You're miserable.
Yeah, but you'll use those foods because different volumes and at different timing will make sure that they're full. So if you're like, hey, we're 90 minutes out from being on stage, let's go and have some rice. Yeah. Or if you're like, hey, we got about 20, 30 minutes, we're going to have a banana.
Yeah.
If it's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we're going to do graham crackers and we're going to go pump up in the backstage.
Yeah.
Because they typically have weights and bands in the backstage.
And oil boys.
Oh, yeah.
Terry's going to sign up for an oil boy.
Oh, he absolutely should. He would love it. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out, Terry.
Yes.
That's really funny. So then do you... it's funny to talk about that. When I packed my food for what I wanted, it's like, okay, I've been dieting for like 58 weeks. Like it was because you lose the job in the middle.
Oh,
and it's I have been
crap.
doing this for a year and a half. That is ungodly. Like you don't do that.
Yes.
So I packed what I wanted to eat right when I got off stage, and it was like 3 different kinds of apples.
You're weird.
I know. It was like, I remember, it was a Honeycrisp.
You're naming apples right now.
I know. It was a Honeycrisp, Granny Smith, and a Golden Delicious.
Which is hysterical.
And that was like all I wanted.
Delicious.
Same thing. I was in high school and I was walking around Italy, and I went with a class trip. Amazing trip, by the way. And I remember I called my mom, who was picking me up at the airport. I said, can you just bring fruit to the airport, please? Like, because we couldn't find any.
Couldn't find fruit in Italy?
No. We found a stand once.
Probably a lot of olives.
I hate olives. I can't stand olives.
Yeah.
But I remember it wasn't just me. It was everyone on the trip.
That's crazy.
It's like, because for breakfast they give you rolls and butter and like something else.
And olives and tomatoes.
So you have like caprese sandwiches, you have pizza, you have pasta, and then you're like, oh my God, I just want fruit. So we were on the bus riding around, getting from one city to another, and there was a huge stand out. Like, it was a beautiful location. I mean, I wish I took a photo of it, but it was just like wooden baskets full of fruit. Yeah. And all of us were like, can you please stop the bus? Like, we got off and bought, it looked like we hadn't eaten in like weeks.
Was this a bus of women? Like,
no.
I'm so sexist right now, but
no.
I don't know if I've ever heard a man say, like, dude, I'm craving some fruit.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all went to town at the fruit stand.
That's amazing.
Because,
I feel like I just offended like half the listeners.
I'm
sorry.
He doesn't mean what he's saying.
Yes.
But yeah, I wanted apples. And even everybody around me was like, what?
Yeah.
They packed like cookies, and I was like, man, I haven't been able, but I couldn't eat fruit on my prep. Right? So it was chicken, veggies. No sugar. Yeah. And I was like, I just want an apple. So I remember walking off stage and eating 2 in like
That's hysterical.
2 minutes.
Yeah. It was funny, like last night when I told you, like if you were extra hungry, like just throw an apple in.
Yeah.
And things are so different. Yeah. Yeah. But that's hysterical. So when I've had clients ask me what can they eat after competition, no one listens. But the number one thing I usually tell them is to be careful digestion-wise, because your gut bacteria is so different. You go eat a high-sugar, high-fat meal.
That sounds disgusting.
They're just going to be in the bathroom the rest of the night.
I made lean beef patties and sweet potato fries and a salad with my favorite dressing.
Oh, that's insane.
And that was
good for you.
That was all I wanted, and I was perfectly happy. And then I continued the diet with a little less training, a little more calories, but I liked what I was eating, so I didn't balloon up.
Let's contrast this a bit.
Okay.
So I'm going to share a story.
Okay.
I did a diet once.
Are you talking about the ice cream story?
Yes. I lost 50 pounds in 8 weeks. 50 pounds in 8 weeks. All I ate was ground turkey, brown rice. I hate brown rice.
You do.
With a little bit of marinara sauce because you got to have some moisture. But I didn't want oil because it would be too many calories. Mm-hmm. So I lost 50 pounds in 8 weeks. I weighed in. I drove from Winthrop University, where I used to teach. I drove from their, I think it was called the West Center, where they have the fitness center. From there to Food Line. I went into Food Line, walked straight to the ice cream aisle. I bought a half gallon of chocolate marshmallow ripple ice cream. I then walked to the picnic aisle and bought a fork. I realized you can't buy a single fork, so I bought a pack of plastic forks.
Why not a spoon?
I forget. I think they were out of spoons. I just remember eating with a fork, and that's how sad I was. So I grabbed I have like my box of forks, my half gallon of chocolate marshmallow ripple. I go up, I pay for it, self-checkout, because I ain't waiting for nobody. And then I walk out in the parking lot, and I ate the entire half gallon of chocolate marshmallow ripple in the parking lot with a fork. I had ice cream melting down my face, melting down my arm because the carton had a hole in it. I was just the saddest looking human being in the history of human beings. So, but I made the goal. 50 pounds in 8 weeks.
That is ridiculous. 50 pounds in 8 weeks.
So that's what I did when I finished the diet, was I ate my body weight in ice cream. You ate apples. You named apples.
Yeah, that was all I wanted.
Not even just an apple. You actually craved a certain apple.
Mm-hmm. That was all I wanted.
It's crazy pants.
Yeah. But I was also the kid in elementary school that was not normal, because I've always liked salad. Always. Always. I made my mom make her salad dressing, and I brought it in a little Tupperware, and I would go to the salad bar. And you couldn't see the lettuce because I had so many shredded carrots on my...
That is, like, you don't exist. That's not real.
That was...
A kid who asked their mom for salads, and your favorite, like, one of your favorite hobbies was cleaning. You used to organize stationery and clean. Who the hell are you?
I'm not fun.
You are now. Not then. Organized stationery.
My mom got me like a play school to cleaning set.
Salads? Like,
I've always been type A, I guess.
I don't know what type that is.
Abnormal.
Yeah, type A for abnormal.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I don't know. I mean, I guess they raised me right, snacking on vegetables and fruit versus
I ate straight sugar food. And I was covered in sweat everywhere I went. That was the worst. I was the complete opposite.
You were just sticky all the time.
Yes, I was definitely that sticky kid. Mm-hmm. Like, you're like, I don't even know. You went outside for 3 minutes. How'd you get so sticky? Like, what were you doing?
You're rolling around.
Meanwhile, I was a kid who goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not know? You were there the whole time.
Yeah. Shout out to Miss Rodrigo. She's still around. She was the lunch lady. She always twirled her whistle around the whole lunch period. Just one way. She'd flip the whistle and then
gym teacher.
Flip it the other way. She had bleach blonde hair and long pink nails, and she chewed gum. I mean, she's a character that you would probably see on
like a movie,
like
Mean Girls movie.
Mm-hmm. But she always made me feel okay about eating salads.
Well, that's good. Miss Rodriguez?
Miss Rodrigo.
Rodrigo? There you go.
She was awesome. Then she became my figure skating teacher.
I, for a minute, forgot you figure skated.
Yeah, remember
so
that?
my brain was like, what?
Yeah. Remember that?
Actually, kind of not. No.
Yeah.
I know you can skate because you taught me to skate.
I did. I taught you how to ice skate on my birthday.
No.
Rob, have you been ice skating, or do you like ice skating? Yeah.
I like the idea of it.
No. What did I say? Can you ice skate?
Yeah, have you been ice skating before? I said yes.
And you said yes.
And you said, okay, great. And then meanwhile, I was like...
Don't ask me if I'm good. Don't ask me if I'm good.
Like, no follow-up questions, please.
So we go ice skating on my birthday, and all of a sudden Rob is clutching the railing like he's gonna fall off a ship.
I was like kicking kids out of the way.
You were not. But we spent my birthday teaching you how to ice skate.
Yeah.
But you did it.
Yeah, we went to the white cement center for your birthday because it was winter, so there's no water.
Yeah.
So it was the White Cement Center in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love ice skating, so I can go like forwards, backwards, a little like hop
Yeah, you
skip
got some
thing.
skill.
But it was really bumpy. I couldn't.
That's true.
We're going on a tangent.
That was my excuse.
How did we even get here? Salads, apples.
Ice skating.
Ice
Yes.
skating.
ABC. So, right in order. Yes. So clearly we're both low on calories and losing our mind already.
No.
But everything's been going good. I'm happy for you. You had a great first weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 week.
Good enough. We're just going to hit repeat. Just press repeat, right?
Yeah. Same diet.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when am I getting weighed? Tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I'm going to weigh Mondays and Thursdays.
Mondays and Thursdays. Okay.
Yep.
So you'll know if my diet gets tweaked by Thursday?
Yeah, like I know the first 2 weeks is
Water?
typically the gut bacteria takes around 5 to 7 days to fully adapt and move around and do what it's going to do. So you'll see some water manipulation. Actually, the more severe of change a person changes to their diet, the more weight change they'll see. Since we just repeated foods you're normally having, we're not going to see a lot of weight change because we don't really care about water manipulation at this point.
Right.
So we want to see a little bit of a downward trend. I wouldn't want you to gain 2 pounds over the last week, which is not going to happen. There's no material for that to even happen with.
No.
So what we'll do is we'll do 2 weeks. But after 2 weeks, your body will start to adjust to it, meaning if it's getting rid of body fat faster than it wants, it'll start to downregulate metabolism. It'll start to reduce the caloric allocation to unnecessary things, like non-essential things. That's not going to happen at 2,400 calories. But what we might see is, okay, we're 2 weeks in, we're only down, 1.2 pounds. Your energy's fine. Cravings and hunger is fine. We could probably drop from 24 down to 22.
Okay.
So we just kind of do it based on what we see in the scale, how you're feeling energy-wise, hunger-wise, how you're feeling with the recovery of training. And we do know that you're not going to step on stage at this weight.
No.
We do have fat to lose. So, meaning that if somebody was coming in, I've had clients before when they get on stage, they're like, hey, I want to do a show, and they naturally walk around 10-12% body fat. It actually isn't uncommon for them to do prep and almost never change weight. Because they're building a little bit of muscle, they're filling out glycogen, losing some body fat along the way. So some people don't have a lot of weight change, so therefore the weight is kind of a useless marker, but we still do it anyhow because I want to learn. Yeah. And then other people, we know there's going to be weight change.
Yeah. So
we do want to see some change happening if we know that has got to happen at some point. Yeah. You want to have that happen quick.
I need to get unfat.
Yeah, you don't have but yeah, so a very long-winded answer to a question I already forgot.
Same. I just know I've walked around watery for years. So.
Yeah, cortisol does that.
Yep.
Yeah, cortisol and undereating. It's a great way to look and feel like shit. Stress and don't eat.
Pudding skin. I don't remember what podcast episode that was.
Oh, I got that one.
You do?
Yeah, pudding skin. I think I even made that the title. Do you want to tell them what pudding skin means?
Yeah. Pudding skin means that I touch my skin and I'm squishy. And I don't like it. I poked myself and I was like, this isn't muscle. What the shit is this?
You woke me up in the morning. This is first thing out of bed. She goes, look at this. What is this? Feel this. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? You were fired up.
I was pissed.
Yeah.
This is
great.
Pudding skin.
So cute.
It's like someone squeaking. It's like a bunny getting mad.
Yeah, it's like, so mean.
So mean.
So mean.
Yeah, it's like someone squeezed piped pudding under my skin. It was so gross. I don't like it.
That's fantastic.
And then you were like, okay, let's go eat a pizza and rice.
Yeah,
and we'll just soak it up.
You need some freaking food, girl.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, I look awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that was nice for a day. Back to being squishy.
Yes. That was podcast 802 back in November 30th of 2020.
Oh, dear God. November 30th?
Yeah, we actually made it to November 30th.
No wonder. Go listen to that.
Yeah.
That's right. A month before our wedding after moving my mom down.
Yeah.
That was a shit month.
That was a rough one. That was my birthday month.
We were surviving.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah. Here's a month
Here's
of
your
nothing
tetanus
you
shot.
Do. Yeah. Yeah, stepping on a nail in a garbage bin. CVS, our favorite place. Yeah, I think we go to CVS more than we go anywhere else.
Yes, true.
And somehow we're always in Chick-fil-A on Valentine's Day.
It's true.
Our lives are a mess.
It became a thing now. Now we've just started going to Chick-fil-A and Valentine's Day.
Yeah, last time we took your mom. It's just going to get better every year.
We were in Chick-fil-A with my mom on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yep. This is love, everybody.
Making it work.
And it was the doctor in the morning.
Yeah, we went to the
It was
doctor.
a great day.
That was great.
Oh my
so
God,
fun.
that's so funny. We were in the doctor the year before that on Valentine's Day.
Seems to be a theme.
We have to stop
And
doing
not
that.
for, like, STIs.
Oh, dear God. Mom.
Oh, no, he took it there.
Oh. I love you so much.
I love you.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
We got poked with needles,
Yep.
but we have to have a better Valentine's. Valentine's Day is always good.
It's always great because it's with you.
Yeah. The real holiday is the next day when the chocolate's on sale.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. I'll
Thank
take
you.
any Valentine's Day with you than all the ones I've had without you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Again, listeners.
Yeah, you guys are gross.
You guys are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody's still actually listening to this point, I'm not sure. We dropped the concept a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah. All one of you.
23 weeks to go.
Yes.
46 leg days.
Yeah, we said it's going to be roughly about 50 leg workouts.
50 leg days.
Yep. So, time to
Make them count.
be crazy aggressive.
Make them count.
Okay.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, well, that was that. So if you want to learn more about Meredith's journey, just check in. We're planning on doing these roughly about every week. But we made the first podcast, I think it was available last Monday. It's podcast 2028. So if you haven't listened to that one, that was last week's. And then I made a podcast 2030, which I talked about setting up Meredith's contest prep diet. So you can learn about the exact food she's having, the reasons why we have them, and all that stuff. And then if you want to learn more about training, we're going to film a couple workouts this week and throw it up on our YouTube channel. If you do not know, you can check us out on YouTube, and then definitely follow us if you do, and then on Instagram as well. I post different stuff than what I talk about in the podcast on Instagram and YouTube. So check that out, and then follow us so it helps grow those channels so more people will check out the information as well. Awesome. If you need anything, just go to the website, www.brutalirongym.com, and on the bottom of the homepage is a contact form. You can send any questions you have. Let us know what you think about the prep, and if you want to hear about anything specific along the way or see anything in the YouTube video. Great. Okay, I think that's everything. So thank you, Meredith, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Yes, and then as always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.